We're ready? 9 a.m. All right, we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Welcome to this Wednesday, July 6th Board of Commissioners meeting. First up is public comment, which is for anyone that is not on the agenda. I have a light crowd today, so I'm not seeing anyone. We'll move on. So we have had, for the area plan, the commissioners had an appointment of Corbin Orr, who moved away in May, so we've been a couple months without an appointment. And we have had a gentleman who grew up in Clinton County, Rossville graduate, went to Purdue, got a degree in ag sales and marketing, and is currently the district manager for AgriGold Seed, who has expressed interest and I believe would be a great fit for those boards. And his name's Grant Moeller, and so he's here today. I just wanted to bring him to the table, see if you guys had any questions or anything that you'd like to ask him, but I think he'd be a great representative of the community and a representative of this board on the area plan, which I will correct myself. I'm the one that asked Jerry to put it on the agenda like this, but it's APC commitment, which the APC then appoints him to the BZA. So we're just appointing him to the APC. So if you guys have any questions, we can have Grant come up, or if good with it, I'll entertain a motion.
I think it's great. We need folks like him. I mean, he's lived here his whole life. He has a great family. Obviously he's educated, and most importantly, he's young. So, in my opinion, that carries the most weight is his youth. We need new ideas and new faces, and I would be honored to make the motion to appoint him to the APC.
Did you say he graduated from Purdue?
Yep.
He did.
Okay, I will second that motion.
Okay, motion carries 3-0. Grant, you are now the commissioner's appointment to the Area Plan Commission, and Liz Stitzel is here, so maybe you two can exchange numbers and get in touch, and she'll get you the info on meetings and kind of the process, and we can go from there. So,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
next up is Rick Campbell with a highway update. Good morning, Rick.
We started chip sealing yesterday. We're chip sealing again today. We'll be chip sealing. As long as it ain't raining, we'll be chip sealing. They started demolition on Bridge 36. Should have started today. The excavator was out there yesterday. I went out and looked. So they should have started demolition on Bridge 36 today. We're got Joe working on sending a bill to the solar farm for the hot mix. We've spent about $15,000 on hot mix, and I think it's probably time to settle some of that. So she's working on a bill for them. Also asked them to start mowing the side ditches.
Okay.
I didn't get out there yesterday to see if they've started mowing the side ditches yet. And then also there's a detour for 421, the bridge just north of the city dump. No, south of the city dump.
Yeah.
We got our unofficial detour signs up, so we're ready whenever they close that road. So that's about all I got.
Do you know when they're closing 39 south? I think they're doing bridge work there as well sometime this summer. Have you gotten notified? I remember
I haven't
receiving
got
it
anything
about a
on
year
that.
ago, but
I
I
haven't
haven't
got
seen
anything on that
anything
yet.
new.
No.
Okay.
I haven't got anything on that yet. So
I can get you. I got a contact down there.
that's all I have.
If you want to find out.
I
for
was
sure.
just wanting to let people know that
Right. It's going to be
kind
closed.
of
Yeah.
it's coming at some point.
Yep.
So, how long will the construction on Bridge 36 take?
What, a year and a half? I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
supposed to tear it out of there pretty quick.
Okay. Good deal. All right. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Liz, you're on the hot seat next.
Timely there, I
Yeah.
We've been waiting.
Good morning.
Twiddling your thumbs. Good morning. I don't have a whole lot. We're continuing to mow. I think the biggest thing to make the commissioners aware of from the area plan perspective is just before I came to the meeting today, I did authorize the permit for the PV arrays in the solar project. So they should be starting to drive piles here over the next week, which is definitely going to be loud, so just part of the construction process. Love it or hate it, that we've got to get through. But I want to make sure you guys are aware because I'm sure that validly, any of us that were living with that kind of noise and chaos would feel some frustration. So as we hear from citizens, being able to be understanding and understand what's going on for them right now. So we anticipate it's going to kind of slowly ramp up here through the next week or two, and then it's going to start to get real busy here in about 2 weeks in terms of the amount of activity going on, beginning to install. The piles are they're metal bars that support the panels, and they don't go in with concrete. They get driven like a fence post for those in ag, so it gives you some idea. But we're excited to have the permit out the gate, and I wanted to just keep you guys in the loop as far as that goes. That includes all of the panels except one property that hasn't made it through the drainage approval.
Yep.
And it does not include either substation or the office building. Those things are still in design. So if there's any questions for me on that, happy to help where I can, but I thought it might be relevant.
At what part of at what stage of the project will the buffer zones be installed or the trees planted and that type of,
Not-
obviously I know they
yeah.
probably need to be after they install the panels.
Yeah,
but I
it's
didn't know
not
if they
going to
would
be until we
immediately
get
or-
closer to the end.
Okay.
And it's just because they'll get ripped back up again.
Oh, yeah, no, I
as they go
understand.
through.
Yeah.
But it will be before anything is powered up or any
Gotcha.
energy collection occurs. They'll have to have that in, and they'll have to have their plantings or pollinator-friendly ground covers
Okay.
in as well. And we'll be doing a lot of walking, checking setbacks and things like that. It's,
Yeah.
of course, much bigger than your average pole
Your
barn.
regular
So-
project, yeah.
Do they have a time frame that they can be doing the work throughout the day, like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., just to be conscious of the neighbors around? Or-
I've asked them about that. They have indicated maybe next week they're going to have a meeting with Cupertino and Wildom, which is the consultant that we're using to help with the extra inspection time, and then us, and discuss kind of construction plans, what they see ramping up where, and I'll bring that up again there. My general understanding is they're looking at working daylight hours, but I haven't had a solid, I don't have a solid, here's our plan just yet, and I'm asking for that too, because I have to respond with inspectors, so there's a logistical side for me. So they're indicating maybe early next week. They'll be ready to have that meeting, and between now and then, they're going to start driving the piles for the transformers, which is a smaller quantity, like here and there throughout the project, that have to go first. And that's not of particular concern in terms of volume. We'll get that looked at. But as soon as I know something, I'll try to let you know. And I'll certainly
Can
ask.
you let us know when the meeting is so that one of us can attend that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Just in no way, shape or form am I trying to imply that you guys aren't capable of being there, but I think if one of us is there to reinforce the idea that we're not gonna put up with any shenanigans like working after dark and things like that. Not that
Yep.
they've given us any indication that they're going to do so because.
No, but it's
medical
good to get ahead of
cooperative,
it.
But it's,
Yep, and I don't think we have any issue with that, so long as, we all understand the main point of the meeting is to try to get the inspection
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
schedule ironed out. But I think it would be good, to be able to remind, on things like that, roads, ongoing issues that we need to all be working together to do our best to mitigate through construction. So,
Yeah, because I foresee that being a question
Yeah.
that comes up when a citizen calls, is like, how long are they,
Right.
can they
What
work
can I
for? And-
expect?
And, maybe they can just be
Yeah.
conscious and trying to work closer to homes during, the middle of the day and more out in the fields during, 5, 6,
people are
7.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that it's not.
we do know they're planning to primarily start on the north side of the creek and then kind of work their way around, if I recall correctly, counterclockwise, but don't nail me to a wall on that, it might be clockwise. But there's going to be a circular pattern through the development once they get that biggest chunk done that's up there altogether.
Okay.
Well, Liz, as you know, though, on Road 50, we have four homes, two of which are as close as me to you, practically.
Yep.
And the question's already come up. In fact, they're concerned that they're starting at 6 in the morning, and as you say, daylight. Well, daylight lasts right now until 10 o'clock at
It
night.
does.
So
Yep.
from 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night is a little exceeding the limits, I believe, as
Well,
far
and
as daylight hours.
I think that's where, like Josh indicated, a commissioner, because I have nothing in my ordinance that says construction may only occur during these times, NHK, Frito-Lay, all these others. There's nothing that says a home builder. There's nothing that says at this time of the day, you can only construct something. So I don't have a regulation. So I think that's where, on the commissioner's side, whatever you guys have in your agreements with them, and then in that discourse, that will be important. Because I can say it, but I don't have any real power to pressure it, and I certainly can't cite anybody for working outside unless there's some written agreement that I've been authorized to enforce.
Well, I don't know that we have a written agreement, and we have nothing in our teeth, but.
But hopefully everyone can work together and we can,
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
think
I agree.
that,
so, no, we'll definitely include you guys. I think that's a great idea. The more we can all work together on our side to back each other up, I think the smoother the whole process will go.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
I have one other thing. I know we had talked about it before. We were doing budgeting, and we have some available for dilapidated buildings demo. So I know we had kind of mentioned it earlier in the year. Do we still have any
Yeah,
on the list that
we-
are ready?
I'm going to confess, Tom and I being creamed here, there are 3 that you guys have voted to move ahead with at the
Okay.
beginning of the year. And Kat and I had sent stuff to Tom, and then we'd corresponded a little bit, and then a number of things have occurred. I've been buried in solar reviews and work related to that. I'm sure you know more about what Tom's been buried in than I do, but we need to get back to that. We're getting halfway through the year. We definitely want to try to get those 3 down this year. So Tom and I just said, I think a week ago, we said to them, we were like, we need to come back to that. So we'll move that up the list and get it taken care of. And I apologize on my part for not pushing that a little harder.
That's fine. I had forgotten about it as well, so I just it came top of mind, and that we had some allocated, and if we can
We
do
definitely,
so,
yeah,
need to
we want to
move
use what we
forward with
can.
one, too, so,
Yep, and I think it's a positive on that program, and compliment to Bert here, because he was one of the commissioners back at the point in time when that ordinance was adopted. The cool thing about that particular ordinance is we have not seen the same rate of buildings coming onto that list as we've been removing. So the number that we have to deal with has been steadily dwindling, and it may take time to get one down, but between what we're taking down and then the free market, with houses that are workable, often get bought and remodeled, we've definitely had an impact in terms of removing some of those structures throughout our community, and I think that's to be commended to the commissioners of the past, the current commissioners, and to the council for supporting that program, more so than nothing about grass, but it grows again. But when you take down one of these buildings, you've changed and improved that area permanently, and I think that's a really big deal. So,
Thank you.
Okay.
no problem, and let me know if there's anything else you need.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up, we have broadband ordinance 2022-06, which was an amendment of a broadband ordinance we had done in 2021. However, after we brought this to the board at a, I don't know, I'll say a month or so ago meeting, we learned from Okra, who oversees the broadband, that the new ordinance, the language we had applied to it, would not consider us broadband ready in the state. So, bringing it back up to have discussion if we want to go back to our original ordinance, or if we want to keep the new language on the ordinance we had brought up in 22. So the difference being that in the new ordinance, we said that the resolution applies to new private investment of broadband infrastructure only, where the original one is ambiguous and it allows for repairs and those type of things. And the state has come to us and said, essentially, if we don't have it worded exactly like the statute, like our first ordinance, then we're unable to be considered broadband ready. So I'll open it up for discussion or any more questions, which direction you guys want to go with it.
I don't think we've got any choice but to obviously correct it and
Yeah.
make it official.
Agreed.
So go back to 2021-07, the original that follows the statute.
That follows the
Okay.
statute.
So you need a
yes.
motion to amend to reflect the original
Yeah,
ordinance?
yeah. So yeah.
I'll make a motion, we amend, 2022-06 to reflect the original language that was included in ordinance 2021-07. Sorry, didn't have my, was,
Second.
Confusing, sorry.
Like this. And second.
Okay. Motion carries 3-0. We will go back to 2021-07, which allows Clinton County to still be broadband ready according to the state.
yay for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next up is the McGuire Iron Pay App number 8. Assume everyone had a chance to review it in the drive, so I'll entertain a motion to approve it. You're up.
So moved.
All right, motion carries 3-0 to approve the McGuire Iron Pay App. I don't think I said that. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, under new business, our first item is the addendum number 1 to our PPA agreement, which is for the courthouse and annex project scoping proposal. So this, if you remember, we signed a PPA with Envoy to encompass all of our projects, so we didn't have to go do them for each individual one. So we are allowed to do an addendum each time one of the projects within the whole pie is up on the docket to start looked at. And so this is the time for them to start moving forward with the design and build out of the annex and the courthouse. And so this is our approval for them to do so. Are there any questions with it?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0 for the addendum number 1, which puts the time frame of the start of the project in early '23, so they have about 6 months here to do all of the design, build out, work with the commissioners, work with department heads from our kind of high-level design we had put together already, and they should have the total project cost budget to us no later than the middle of January of '23. So, and they've conveyed to me that they should have that earlier than that, so. Let's see. Next up is Speed Ordinance 2022-07. This came up at the last commissioners' meeting. It was for bridge number 21, which is on a gravel road, and reduction of speed from 55 to 45, which would allow the bridge footprint to be smaller and would save some money on that project. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. It's not a gravel road? Okay, all right, well. Just between the two intersections. Okay, all right. Thank you for the clarification. So I'll entertain a motion to move forward signing this document. Or
Motion
any
approved.
questions?
Second.
All right, motion carries 3-0.
Yes, sir.
Next up is, we've done this in the past in terms of transferring some land that is under the commissioner's control to the RDC, which allows some more flexibility.
Sure.
I know this may be new for Bert, but Josh and I have discussed this with Alan and council a multitude of times, and there's 25 acres roughly out at 375, the new road that was put in for ConAgra, kind of chopped up a little bit, that we would, I guess, bringing it up for discussion to entertain moving forward, transferring that to RDC to have some flexibility both from economic development standpoint and just overall anything that would grow, it's not handcuffed to some of the same regulations that we have. So I don't know if there's any other thoughts or questions.
I have none, I'm familiar with it.
I do
Okay.
not.
All right. So I,
Just for the sake of transparency, this particular parcel of land is the one that is on the west side of County Road 375, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it'd be directly south of ConAgra.
Yeah.
Has a creek that cuts through it.
Yeah.
So.
Motion to approve the transfer of land to the RDC.
Second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0, and when Tom gets a chance, he'll get us some documents to sign to make that official. So. All right, next up is jail phone upgrade, and I'll have Tim come to the podium and kind of give us a synopsis of what's going on with the phone system at the jail.
So probably about 8 weeks ago, maybe less, we did actually have a failure of a piece of equipment on what is at the jail phones. One of the modules that runs 3 of the phone lines actually did die. Luckily enough, I was able to find a replacement part. The system, I would say, is probably original to the jail, so it's got quite a bit of age on it. And obviously with that, nothing has been made probably in the last 15 years for that. So parts are kind of scarce. Probably nobody honestly around that can honestly program this system anymore. So with that, I kind of went back to look at Gibson that we had looked at last year about possibly replacing the phone system over there. So obviously it's an aging system that, luckily enough, it was only a partial outage. It would be months to fix this system if we weren't proactive. So I did reach back out to them. I think last year they came in just right under 30,000. With a year's difference, we were just a little over 32 now. So, you know, it's just something that we need to be more proactive with than reactive, because I think this will fail at any next lightning strike that we could possibly have, so.
We have funding? for it?
We have funding, and also the sheriff had indicated to you and
Yeah, I had
myself
asked the
that-
sheriff if he would be willing to pitch in a little
We
bit
didn't-
on
couldn't
fixing
cover the
this,
whole
and
thing.
and
Okay,
he's
great.
Yeah.
willing to help.
We had talked, yeah,
Oh, okay. Wow, all right. What'd you say? Said the sheriff would pay half?
so, yeah, I think we have some available money for this,
Okay.
so.
I don't, hey,
And
I like
And
being
I think
proactive.
right now, they're estimating probably 2 months worth of lead time on equipment, so I mean, it's not gonna be instantaneous, but
Yeah, Sooner we,
it's something we need to definitely try to get on the books to be getting done sooner than later.
And the other thing was, it went up around 2,000 from the previous year, and
Yeah,
we're
it went up
expecting,
about 2,800.
yeah,
so,
and we're
I
expecting
mean,
it to go up more than that, so.
Right.
you know,
As everybody knows, I mean, who knows what prices could be next month, so
yeah.
at some point, we probably need to get this locked in sooner than later.
I'll make a motion to upgrade the jail phone system.
Second.
Motion carries
Hopefully
3-0.
that's specific enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, that's
Oh,
good.
thank you, Tim.
Have our approval to move forward with
Okay.
getting the right equipment that you know for the jail phone.
All right, sounds good.
All right,
Thanks, gentlemen.
thanks. Yep. Okay, next up, department heads. Have any department heads that want to go? Morning, Grace.
Morning, Grace. How are you?
I'm doing fairly well today.
Good.
I just wanted to let you know about a few things. I know we've been talking about conservation and preservation, and first of all, I want to thank you guys for being very conservation and preservationist in mind. I'm a transplant to this county. I've been here about 20 years, but I'm a historian and an archivist, and so records are so important, and we have so many good records. I just recently found an 1840 presidential election from this county. So, you know, all of these things need to be preserved. I am having a conservationist. Her name is Kathy Lechuga. She will, she's with Signature Conservation LLC in Indianapolis. She'll be coming in next week on the 19th, so if anybody wants to stop by and meet her. But the point of her visit is to look at our archives now and go over to the new building, look at that, and then kind of come up with a plan of things that we need to do.
Okay.
And with her report, then at the end of the year, I'm glad that you were talking about getting this, it started. But with her report, by the end of the year, I can apply for a National Endowment for the Humanities grant, which will, allow us to do some things, hopefully, if we get it. And that comes at the very end of the year. It's awarded, I think, in May or June of next year, and then I think the grant usually starts in September. So if we get it, then, we may be able to have some extra money to do the things that we really need to.
Okay.
But if anybody wants to come and meet her,
Your time?
we're gonna she's supposed to get back to me.
Okay.
But maybe around 9 o'clock, but I'll let you know if
Okay.
that changes. And so we'll tour, what we have upstairs for 4.5, which, I know there's a lot of problems with that.
Boy.
But then we'll go on over to the new building and then see what could be done and what needs to be done. In terms of, even if we were to, scan or digitize records, the original records are extremely important to have. There's nothing like looking at those. And, the older paper is much better than the newer paper. So it's newer records that they actually deteriorate faster. So, if anybody does want to meet her, I'll keep you informed of when she's coming. She should be getting back to me here soon. And then if anybody wants to meet her or talk with her, welcome to come.
Okay.
So hopefully, if we can get a grant, that would be really great.
That
Okay.
would be.
All right? Thank you.
You're welcome. I think to piggyback on what she is trying to accomplish, and as we go through this project with potentially moving things out of the courthouse, rearranging things, whatever we're going to do, I think it would behoove us to send a letter to elected officials and employees here. If there are items that they think or that even look historic in nature here, that we need to make sure they do not get tossed.
Yeah.
And, and it might be that cabinet back there, it could be a chair, there's some massive tables upstairs in your office. Beth has the same thing. I mean, these are things that are, original to the courthouse,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we need to do our best to preserve the history as we transition.
I think my office has the last desk that was originally for
Okay.
2 desks on each side. But I think that's the last.
See you later. Wow.
Good. Stephen, good morning.
Throughout the month of June, we discussed Forrest taking over as Ambulance 13 and covering the Northeastern Volunteer Ambulance Service coverage area. Jerry, thank you for giving me that contract. I was able to just go through and change Rossville's name to Forrest and all their information. I spoke with Stace on my way here. He just wants us to add fuel to the contract as well as their legal name. If you guys are okay with it, since trying to get everybody together through Stace's schedule, your guys' schedule, I'll just make those changes and send it via DocuSign. Is that okay?
I'm
I mean,
okay.
is that standard, how the other, fuel on the other ones?
It wasn't included in the terminology,
Okay.
but I mean, we cover their fuel. It's just been what we do. So I think
He just wants it in writing.
just wants it in writing. So,
I think I'm okay with that, so.
okay. And then I asked for a cell phone for one of our crews. The way that it currently goes for transfers is the hospital calls our crew and I send them a list of cell phone numbers and personnel. I acknowledge and respect I don't pay for my team's cell phone bills, so I'm just asking for one phone that would be the designated phone to receive calls for transfers. And it would just be one for one truck, and they would carry it and pass it to the next crew every single day, so.
I'm okay with that. We talked about it, so.
Okay.
Because then it'll make it easier on the hospital too, right? They'll just have one number they always call instead of having
Yeah.
to
Because I'll be
Blank
honest, getting a
date.
phone call at 2 a.m. and when I'm at home and they're saying, hey, we can't get anybody to answer the phone, it's kind of like, okay. So I would much rather them have one number they're calling instead of all these other numbers they're trying to figure out. So,
So you're gonna pass that one phone around then, is that?
yeah. So we're just going to put it on the supervisor truck, Medic 2, and it'll just be passed on each day to the next person who.
Whoever's on that truck?
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Makes sense to me, so, good.
Cool. Thank you guys.
All right.
That's all I have.
Thanks. Renee?
Doing some interviews later today, so just a process.
Yeah.
Other than that.
Sure is.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, commissioner reports. Do we have any commissioner reports?
I have none to report.
No? Okay. All right, we'll move on to claims. Let's see if I can. Claims dated June 24th in the amount of $393,445.40. Biweekly claims dated July 6th in the amount of $379,540.35. Court claims dated July 6th in the amount of $28,768.87. BMV claim in the amount of $30, and a surplus from July 6th in the amount of $14,404.13.
Motion to approve claims.
Second.
Okay, motion carries 3-0. Next up, we have payroll dated June 20th in the amount of $443,710.98, and EMS payroll dated June 20th in the amount of $5,883.79.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion carries 3-0 for payroll. Next, we have administrative minutes from June 7th and our regular minutes from our June 21st meeting.
So, motion to approve, sorry.
Second. Good.
Motion carries 3-0 on the minutes. Is there any other business that needs to become in front of the Board of Commissioners? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There we go. Thank you.